So biotechnology deals with industrial scale production of biopharmaceuticals. Very important. The green revolution has tripled the food production, but it is not sufficient to meet the present increasing population. Write a short note on SCID. What is SCID? Standing for severe combined immunodeficiency. Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another revision class of second PUC Biology, chapter 12 called Biotechnology and its Applications. Myself, B. Shobharani from the Department of Biology, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence in Mysuru. What is the weightage of marks for this particular chapter called Biotechnology and its Applications? Weightage is 5 marks. So what is the weightage of marks for this particular chapter called biotechnology and its application? It is 5 marks. So what will be the type of questions asked for 5 marks? It is 5 mark question will be asked, that is one question will be asked. Or it might be like the split question, that is 3 plus 2 question, or it might be 2 plus 2 plus 1, that is equal to 5. So it might be asked for complete 5 marks, or it might be asked for split question like 3 plus 2, that is 5, or 2 plus 2 plus 1, that is 5 marker question. What is the introduction of this particular chapter called Biotechnology and its Applications? We know that there are wide applications of biotechnology. So biotechnology deals with industrial scale production of biopharmaceuticals. Very important. The main application of biotechnology is in pharmaceutical industry and biologicals using genetically modified microbes, fungi, plants and animals. We also know that biotechnology has wide application in medicine also. Already, as I said, in production of drugs or medicines, that is biopharmaceutical, therapeutics and diagnostics, particularly in molecular diagnostics, diagnosing various genetic disorders, and in agriculture such as genetically modified crops for agriculture, processed food, bioremediation, waste treatment and energy production. As we all know that Green Revolution, which was launched in 1960 to boost crop production by implementing new and high yield of crops. Though the Green Revolution was successful in tripling the food production, but it was not sufficient to meet the demands of the increasing population. And as we also know that the agrochemicals are quite expensive, so in order to reduce the expenses, so genetically modified crops need to be implemented. So genetically modified crops such as like we come across rice, maize, soybean, etc. These are all the genetically modified crops. Moving on to the synopsis part, biotechnology, applications in agriculture. As I already said, though the Green Revolution has tripled the food production, but it is not sufficient to meet the present increasing population. As we also know that agrochemicals are quite expensive. In order to meet that expense, so we need to go for genetically modified crops. So organisms such as plants, fungi, bacteria, animals, their genes are altered by genetic engineering is called genetically modified organisms. Then like for example, we have the BT cotton. BT cotton is genetically modified cotton which is insect resistant and has insecticidal property. Then pest resistant plants, then we have nematode resistance in tobacco plants. Then we have biotechnological applications in medicines, particularly genetically engineered insulin, what we call it as humulin. Then in gene therapy, what is gene therapy? Like replacing the faulty gene with a healthy gene is called gene therapy. Then in molecular diagnosis also it is used. For example, like we use PCR technology to detect the HIV virus in suspected AIDS patient. Then we use ELISA test, then PCR test particularly to detect the mutations. Then transgenic and genetically modified organisms is also important. Ethical issues like biopiracy, then biopatent. Biopatent is the right given by the government to the inventor to prevent the other commercial uses of the invention. Next, moving on to the 1 marker question. So what will be the type of questions asked? As I said, the weightage of marks for this particular chapter is 5 marks. Sometimes even the split questions, for example, like 2 plus 2 plus 1 might be given. So what might be the 1 marker question if at all it is given for split questions? What are transgenic plants? As we know, transgenic plants can also be called as genetically modified plants or transgenic crop. So what are these? These GM plants, genetically modified plants having one or more foreign genes, transgenes in their genome, are called transgenic plants. What is BT cotton? Already I told no. What is BT cotton? A transgenic cotton, a genetically modified cotton plant having cry genes, that is crystalline protein genes, that is Bacillus thuringiensis in its genome. Then what are transposons? These are DNA segments which move from one place to another within a genome. Transposons are also known as what? Jumping genes. Name the jumping genes if they ask. It is nothing but transposons. Next, name the first genetic disorder treated by gene therapy, that is ADA deficiency. What does ADA stands for? Adenosine deaminase deficiency. Next, what is bioremediation? Biotechnological process that use microbes, fungi, plants or their enzymes to reduce or neutralize pollutants in soil and water is known as what? Bioremediation. What is the example? You can take Pseudomonas putida, which is also called as what? Superbug. Is used to clean oil spills of oceans. If at all there is an oil spill in an ocean, this Pseudomonas putida is used to reduce the toxicity or the pollutants in the water due to the oil spill. Now let us discuss the 2 marker question. As I said, if at all the 5 marker question is given as a split question, 2 plus 2 plus 1. So what will be the 2 marker questions? If at all if it is asked for split questions, give example for transgenic plants. 4 examples you can give. BT plants like BT cotton, BT corn, BT brinjal, flavor saver variety of tomato, golden rice plant which is enriched with nutrient called vitamin A, then herbicide resistant corn plant, etc. Then name the 3 main options in increasing food production. 1 is agrochemical method of agriculture, 2 organic agriculture, and 3 genetic engineering method of agriculture. Now, 2 marker question. Write a short note on SCID. What is SCID? Standing for severe combined immunodeficiency, is an autoimmune disorder. So what is SCID? It's an autoimmune disorder. How is it caused? It is due to the defective gene for adenosine deaminase on chromosome number 20. So what will happen? Without ADA enzyme, body is unable to break down toxic substances, that is deoxyadenosine. So what will happen? So it is not without ADA enzyme, body is unable to break down the toxic substance called deoxyadenosine. So what will happen? The deoxyadenosine compound will be more and it is going to destroy the B and T lymphocytes, which are the very important cells to fight against disease causing organism, thereby reducing the immunity, body immunity. Due to this, person does not have functional immune system. Next, give example for transgenic animals. The previous question was transgenic plants. Transgenic cow called Rosie, transgenic sheep called Tracy, transgenic sheep one more type called Polly and Molly, and transgenic monkey called Andy. Then 5 marker question. So let us discuss what will be the type of questions which is asked for full 5 marks, not split question. So write a short note on biopiracy, highlighting the exploitation of the developing countries. So what is it? It is unethical or illegal use of biological resources of other nations without proper authorization from countries concerned is known as what? Biopiracy. Now, I can give an example. In 1997, an American company got patent right on basmati rice through US patent. Already I told what is patent. Patent is a right given by the government to the inventor so that the other commercial uses of the invention will not be done. and the trademark office. So in 1997, an American company got patent right on basmati rice through US Patent and Trademark Office. So short form is USPTO. Right. Then they crossed Indian basmati rice with the semi-DOF variety and claimed as an invention. This was challenged by CSIR New Delhi, that is Council for Scientific and Industrial Research in New Delhi. This was challenged by CSIR. Several attempts are made to patent the products and process based on traditional herbal medicine. For example, like turmeric and neem. You can give an example, right, for biopiracy. Next, second question, discuss the advantage of genetically modified organisms. So, GM plants, what is the advantage of genetically modified plants that are created? To make plants resistant to abiotic stress, to improve nutritional content of crop plants. For example, like genetically modified golden rice is enriched with vitamin A, then increase productivity in the crop plants. What will be the advantage of genetically modified animals? So you can use them as for study of diseases, for vaccine safety, then for chemical safety testing, then genetically microbes that are created, how are they useful? To produce pharmaceutical products used in bioremediation and used for biocontrol. One more 5-marker question. Discuss briefly how probe is used in molecular diagnostics. So what is a molecular probe? So molecular probe is a radioactive synthetic single-stranded RNA or DNA fragment of a known base sequence and may be several nucleotides long. So molecular probes are used in the following. What are they? They are used in southern blotting technique, northern blotting technique and western blotting technique. So in southern blotting technique here, the probe forms a hybrid with DNA. The probe here in northern blotting technique, the probe binds with complementary bases in RNA. In western blotting technique here, the probe binds to the proteins and helps in the detection. All these are quite commonly used in molecular diagnosis. So moving on to the structure of a sperm, as we all know that sperm is it's a motile haploid gamete, male gamete produced in the seminiferous tubule of testis. As we all know that the sperm is divided into head, neck and tail. So what are the parts that are included under the head region of a sperm? It is a pear-shaped and it is measured around 4 microns to 5 microns in length and 2.5 microns to 3.5 microns in width. And it has a haploid nucleus and a cap-like structure called acrosome, which plays a very great role at the time of fertilization. Then entire head is surrounded by a membrane called plasma membrane. So the human sperm is divided into head, neck and tail, and head is a pear-shaped structure and it is measured around 4 microns to 5 micron in length and 2.5 to 3.5 micron in width, and it has a haploid nucleus and a cap-like structure called acrosome, which has a great role to play at the time of fertilization, and the entire head is surrounded by a membrane called plasma membrane. That is about the head. Moving on to the neck region. It is the narrow middle region between head and tail. It is measured about 0.3 micron in length. So what is neck region? It is a very small narrow middle region between head and tail. It's a very small region between head and tail, measuring around 0.3 micron in length. It has 2 centrioles. Namely, it is called proximal centriole and the other one is called the distal centriole. Next, tail. 3 main regions of the tail are middle piece, main piece and the end piece. So what are the 3 very important features of the human sperm? Head, neck and tail. Hope you all have understood the important type of questions which might be asked from this particular chapter called biotechnology and its applications. So at the end of this chapter, what will you be able to learn? The important concepts like define genetically modified organisms, describe the uses or advantages of genetically modified crops, explain the application of biotechnology to produce pest-resistant crops like BT cotton, nematode-resistant tobacco plants, then describe the steps in the production of genetically engineered insulin, that is humulin, explain gene therapy, its use in treatment of ADA disease, Describe the creation of transgenic animals and their use in producing biological products, to test vaccine safety and chemical safety, to understand natural physiology and development. Explain the ethical issues related to biotechnology like biopiracy and the steps taken by the Indian government to check such issues. So all these are the important concepts what you are going to learn at the end of this chapter called biotechnology and its applications. Let us move on to a brief recap of the whole chapter, that is biotechnology and its application. Application of biotechnology in agriculture. It is used in agrochemical based agriculture, organic agriculture, and the use of genetically modified organisms to replace the agrochemicals. Then genetically modified organisms like biopesticides, pest resistant plants, like already we have come across the BT cotton. Next, biotechnological application in medicine, that is to produce genetically engineered insulin, stem cell study, molecular diagnosis like Alzheimer's disease, etc. Hope you have understood the important concepts what I discussed from the examination point of view and the type of questions that will be asked from this particular chapter called biotechnology and applications. Thank you.